Hello and welcome to week 15 of my pregnancy. I have to say that this really was not a good week for me. You might be able to tell from the sound of my voice, but I am just getting over a cold. So I got to experience what it's like to have a cold while pregnant, and it's not fun, I can tell you that. Um, while I would normally be loading up on Dayquil and NyQuil and pushing through, I can't do that because most cold medicine is not safe for pregnant women to take. So instead, I was living off of hot tea and Vicks vapor rub and cough drops and trying to get through the cold as best as I could. But it really hit me hard and kind of took me out for the whole week. Um, I noticed that last week Sunday, it started in my chest, just a really like tight feeling, a little bit difficult to breathe. I told my fiance it felt like I had smoked a pack of cigarettes, which I assure you I did not do. I quit over a year ago, so it definitely was not that. But that's the way it felt. My lungs were just angry with me. And then, kind of as the days went on, it just got worse and worse and worse, and kind of started creeping its way up, to my throat, and then eventually to my sinuses, my nose, my head. Um, about midway through the week, as it had continued to get worse, I left work to go to the doctor. I decided I should check out and make sure it's not something more serious that would require antibiotics or something like that. So they did a strep test. It was negative, and listened to my lungs. She could tell I was wheezing, so she gave me a breathing treatment, just the albuterol and the little nebulizer machine, which did kind of help to open me up a little bit. So gave me a prescription for an inhaler and told me, I could take Tylenol if I was feeling achy or anything, and then just to watch for a fever because that could be dangerous, and to stay away from anything that was decongestant because that restricts the blood vessels, which of course is not good if you're trying to make sure that your blood flow to baby is getting, is enough. So stay away from anything like that. She said that plain Mucinex would be okay to take. I didn't do it, however, because I've actually never taken Mucinex before. And when I was talking to my best friend about it, she kind of warned me to be careful because it breaks it up and then kind of drains down into your stomach. So it can cause just kind of some irritation of the stomach, like making you nauseous or, even throwing up if you're, pretty sensitive to it. So I decided to stay away from that, just use the inhaler. The Vicks vapor rub was definitely my friend. I was lathering it on as much as I could. And like I said, hot tea, cough drops, all those kind of, home remedies. And then the day after I went to the doctor, I came into work again, and I feel like that was kind of the peak day of like how bad it was, and everybody was like, oh my god, you should go home. So I ended up taking a half day and just trying to rest. I bought a neti pot, which I have never used one in my whole life, and I've heard lots of good things from it. People say it's a great way to clear out your sinuses, and that's especially when it started going up into my nose. So it was just, I felt like I was constantly 24/7 blowing my nose, stuffy, couldn't breathe, couldn't sleep because I couldn't breathe. And so I tried this neti pot, and it was kind of a terrifying experience for me. I felt like I was just kind of panicking because you can't breathe. You have water running from one side of your nose through your sinuses and coming out the other side of your nose. And it says that you should be able to breathe through your mouth, and I really felt like I was just panicking, and I couldn't do it for as long as you're supposed to. You put 8 ounces in the little teapot thing, and you're supposed to do half on one side and then, half on the other side. And I probably did it like 3 times on each side, but they were such short amounts of time that I didn't even get through the whole 8 ounces, even with those 6 times of doing it. So, I mean, I have one now, so maybe as time goes on, I'll use it and it'll become more comfortable, or maybe my fiance will use it. I don't know. But at that point, I was kind of willing to try anything, especially that's not a drug. So that was an interesting experience. I am definitely thankful to say that I'm starting to feel more like myself again. It's getting easier to breathe. Like I said, you can probably still hear it in my voice, but it's way, way better than it was. Another thing that I did is I bought a humidifier, which has been amazing. I love it. I wish I could carry it around everywhere with me, because living here in Wisconsin in the wintertime, the air just gets so dry, and then, you know, you're running your heat on top of it, and so that's blowing hot air and just sucking that moisture right out of the air, and I feel like I'm extra sensitive to that, especially when I'm trying to sleep. You know, I wake up like, like no moisture in my nose and throat, and feeling like I need water right now. So I've been running that humidifier from just a small one that I set next to my side of the bed. Turn it on maybe an hour before I go to bed and let it run throughout the night and turn it off when I wake up in the morning, and it has made a huge difference. So I'm super excited to have that and continue to use it throughout the winter, and, you know, not only when I'm sick, but just kind of in general to help give the air a little bit more moisture. Let's see. This week I did also have my, is it my second or my third? What if I don't remember? I think it was my second appointment with my midwife. And unfortunately, I was so distracted by the fact that I was sick, I didn't really ask a lot of other questions. You know, she did draw my blood because we monitor my thyroid levels at pretty much every visit. As long as they stay stable, I can reduce the amount of time that I do the blood draws and test the levels. But we did that. Just kind of talked through, you know, general nutrition and sleep and emotional well-being and kind of all the standard things that we go through. And she used the doppler, and she was finally able to find the heartbeat, which was super exciting. It's just, you know, a huge relief to be able to hear that and know that baby's in there and alive and healthy and, you know, heart beating at the rate that it should be. It just felt really, really good to hear it again and know that everything's okay, especially since it had been a couple of weeks since my last ultrasound. So, you know, in these early stages, before you can really feel the movements of baby and things like that, you don't really get a lot of chances to get a little glimpse of what's going on in there and kind of that reassurance that everything's okay. So it was really special and exciting to be able to hear baby's heartbeat. We scheduled my next appointment, and this next one is super exciting because it is the 20-week anatomy scan, which actually I'll be 19 weeks because of the way the holidays fall and everything. We scheduled it a week early, but she said that's totally fine, and so I get to see baby again, and not only that, but I get to find out the sex, and I can't wait for that news. So definitely looking forward to that, and knowing that it's not even that far away, just a couple of weeks, is really awesome. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that I have for this week, so I'm just gonna keep trucking on, trying to kick this cold. Hopefully it'll be completely gone in another day or two, and I can get back to a little bit more activity and those higher energy levels that I was enjoying before. But, you know, you got to give the body what it needs, and this week it definitely needed its rest. So, all right, well, I will check in with you guys again next week.